my interviewer asked me, okay, write something. And he said, you're a dreamer, get out. If I would have cracked any of them, probably I would not have come to Mumbai. So Krishna was arranging that somehow I land up in this place and get connected to devotees. Before Krishna employs you, he trains you. I wanted Krishna to hear what I am saying, I would tell him everything. Now I want to hear what he's trying to say. I felt misfit for a lot of reasons. The soul always feels misfit in this temporary world. Stop trying too hard to fit in. Just accept how you are. The biggest problem is comparison. So people seeking validation from the world for everything you do. If you're chasing fame, you'll never be satisfied. Can you take out 1 minute and say thank you before you sit for your dinner? Then Krishna will do his job. Now I can thank Krishna. Prayers were answered.
So you've explored many spiritual paths. You've done Vipassana, you were introduced to art of living before finally coming to Krishna Consciousness.
There was this inner belief that God is a person.
So what was your heart actually searching for prior to coming to ISKCON?
I was looking for this concrete philosophy, a book where these answers.
नमस्ते, आप देख रहे हैं ट्रांसफॉर्म विद श्रेया पॉडकास्ट पावर्ड बाय आत्मा शांति वेलनेस। यहाँ हम सिर्फ वेलनेस की बात नहीं करते, हम बात करते हैं ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन की, माइंड, बॉडी, एनर्जी और सोल लेवल पर। मेरा नाम श्रेया है और हर एपिसोड में हम कुछ ऐसे लोगों के साथ बात करते हैं जो अपने ज्ञान, अनुभव और सेवा के माध्यम से दूसरों की लाइफ में एक मीनिंगफुल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन लाते हैं। आज का एपिसोड स्पिरिचुअली बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग है। आज हमारे साथ हैं मधु माधव दास जी, जो पिछले कई सालों से इस्कॉन में एक मंक के रूप में उन्होंने अपना जीवन भगवान श्री कृष्ण की सेवा और भक्ति में समर्पित कर दिया। वो करंटली गोवर्धन इको विलेज में अपनी सेवाएं दे रहे हैं, जो हिज होलीनेस राधानाथ स्वामी महाराज स्थापित हुआ एक स्पिरिचुअल और सस्टेनेबल इको विलेज है। उनकी सेवा बहुत ही अनोखी है। वह लोगों को गोवर्धन इको विलेज की गौशाला और अन्य सेवाओं से कनेक्ट करते हैं, प्रेम के माध्यम से, रिश्तों के माध्यम से और सेवा की भाव से। लेकिन उनकी कहानी सिर्फ एक मंक बनने की कहानी नहीं है। ये कहानी है एक ऐसे बच्चे की जो बचपन में भगवान श्री कृष्ण में एक दोस्त ढूंढता था, एक ऐसे युवक की जो हमेशा से खुद को इस दुनिया में एक मिसफिट महसूस करता था, एक इंजीनियर की जिसने 60 से भी ज्यादा जॉब इंटरव्यूज दिए, एक क्रिएटिव राइटर की जो प्रोफेशनल और कॉर्पोरेट वर्ल्ड में भी रहकर अपनी स्पिरिचुअल कॉलिंग को दबा नहीं सका, और फाइनली एक ऐसे इंसान की जिसे अंत में अपना असली घर भगवान श्री कृष्ण की शरण में मिला। आज हम उनसे बात करेंगे उनकी खूबसूरत लाइफ जर्नी के बारे में, बचपन से लेके अभी तक के मंकहुड के सफर के बारे में, गोवर्धन इको विलेज की सेवाओं के बारे में और भगवद गीता के उन अमूल्य लेसन्स के बारे में जो हम सब की लाइफ में आज भी बहुत रेलेवेंट हैं। तो चलिए बिना किसी देरी के लेट अस वेलकम मधु माधव दास जी। प्रभु जी, स्वागत है आपका ट्रांसफॉर्म विद श्रेया पॉडकास्ट में। सो प्रभु जी, लेट अस स्टार्ट फ्रॉम द वेरी बिगिनिंग। टेल अस समथिंग अबाउट हाउ वाज यंग Madhu like growing up in an Agarwal family in Delhi?
My original name is Manish.
जी.
At home they'll call me Manish. I grew up as a child. I was naughty. I was good in sports. I was good in studies. I loved my mother a lot, and but I remember as I entered teenage, I became more silent. I trying to process meaning of the world.
More introspective.
More introspective. मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा था. I was bit like unlike other boys, I would use profanities. I was not much into sports. I didn't know driving, nor I was interested in. And I drew much attention or liking for arts, which was also not appreciated by my father.
मैं अग्रवाल हूँ खुद.
He had two conditions for me, either doctor or engineer.
जी.
So I prepared for medical, but I couldn't crack it because I was very poor in physics.
No, but I want to understand
Yeah.
कि growing up, was your childhood like traditional Agarwal family जैसे होता है कि आपको business करना है?
Oh
और,
yes, I am the only person in my family who did a job.
बिल्कुल.
My family won't marry their daughters to a person who is not into business,
जी.
nor they will accept daughters from a family who is not into business.
जी जी.
So they were also surprised कि इसको नौकरी क्यों करनी है, like और teacher क्यों बनना है. So my brother, he started handling our family business from when he was in 8th class.
आपका family business किस चीज का है?
It was into street light. My father first he had a ration shop.
Okay.
Then he started a business of lights.
अच्छा. Manufacturing
lights.
जी.
And that my brother started handling from 8th class, you know.
अच्छा.
He was like
तो आपके भाई interested थे family
were
business
very,
में and
yes.
वो एकदम तालमेल बैठ गया.
My youngest brother studied, and he, at a time when I suggested him do a job, he told me, भाई I cannot, you know, मेरे को नहीं अच्छा लगता कोई मेरे हाथ में सैलरी दे.
जी.
जो भी है छोटा मैं अपना ही करूँगा.
आई थिंक वो अग्रवालों की ना वो मेंटालिटी है कि कहीं ना कहीं हमारे जेनेटिक कोड में है कि हम बिजनेस माइंडेड हैं या हमें लोगों को एक एम्प्लॉयमेंट देना है, उनका सहारा बनना है. यू नो, आई हैव सीन दैट.
Now I also see that's was the way of the gene preservation.
Okay, right.
Probably in Vedic time they would facilitate कि चलो इसको नहीं करना तो कुछ और कर ले.
Right.
Now they find it taboo, but
Right.
now maybe they are open-minded.
No, now the things are changing.
But otherwise, you see, that's why how my brother is so naturally good in business.
Yeah, yeah.
So otherwise, that's why even I see when there is mixing of genes, I was thinking that cross, culture marriages, probably the kids who are born will be confused because there's something you carry.
That's true. From the mother, from the father, and you're like thinking, मैं क्या करूँ अभी?
Different cultures.
Yeah. And why does a certain thing interest me more? You know, so.
So it was. I would find it hard to gel with my father's family.
Right.
Because my mother's family was all into jobs.
Right.
And my father's family was very, because they all came from village, all business people, they would find me very strange and, like...
They used to question like, क्या है? क्यों नहीं हमारे business में आ रहा है? क्यों नहीं straightforward
not like us,
जी.
That's how it was,
Very nice to hear, and I can sense a lot of similarities because I have gone through similar challenges in life, and I have a younger brother who's an exceptional, brilliant mind when it comes to handling the business. Comes very naturally to him.
So do they expect daughters to take up business, or
so things are changing?
Her to be married?
Yeah, they expected me to be married, absolutely. And exactly, all business class families, अगर लड़की का रिश्ता बिहाएंगे तो वो एक business class family में होगा, and nothing less than that. वो सब expectations, I've been through that, so I can relate to what you're saying. So Prabhuji, you had mentioned कि बचपन में आप लॉर्ड कृष्णा से एज अ दोस्त बात करते थे. Do you really think भगवान उस समय आपकी conversation सुनते थे? And I'm curious to know, like, what were these conversations like?
Yes, I think as a child, I wanted Krishna to hear what I am saying. I would tell him everything. Now probably I have grown into I want to hear what he's trying to say.
Right. Very beautiful.
That time, yes, I believed. Now when I look back, it's like probably it seems he may not have answered, but actually he was arranging.
Right. How old were you, Prabhuji, when you were trying to find a friend in Krishna back then?
I can't pinpoint on an age, but I remember my earliest memories probably are 5 or 6 when I was.
इतने आप young थे.
My mother tells me that I would sometime I'm alone. I will take a Krishna's statue. I will take this Hindi bhajan book. I'll bring some flowers from the park. Delhi has a lot of parks.
Right.
And I'll do my bhajan to Krishna. And in my home, I was living in a room alone. Like I grew up in a room alone.
दिल्ली में तो वैसे ही बड़े-बड़े घर होते हैं और आराम से हर एक को अपना कमरा मिल जाता है.
All the walls had Krishna poster. Yeah, there was one wall which had the Titanic poster. Some आप थोड़ा drift हो जाते हैं, but they all had Krishna posters, and that was my way of connecting and getting answers from Krishna. And actually, I was not really. My mother as a child taught us very beautiful things. She would say कि भगवान से ना कुछ नहीं मांगना है, कि मम्मी पापा जो चाहिए होता है बच्चों को दे देते, But you are a student, so you can ask for one thing. When you say in front of Krishna, say, मुझे विद्या का दान दो,
Beautiful.
मुझे भक्ति का दान दो, मुझे चरणों में स्थान दो.
जी.
So उन्होंने भक्ति का दान दे दिया, है ना? And चरणों का स्थान, it depends on how much endeavor I put in my practice. So that time even one thing hasn't changed. I was not asking for, as my mother told me, I would follow whatever my mother said, that don't ask for material things.
जी, तो आपकी मम्मी, आपकी जो माता हैं, वो पहले से ही आपको बोलती थी, right from you were a young child, कि materially हमें भगवान से कुछ नहीं मांगना है.
She was very. I heard once like chastising my father.
Right.
कि ये क्या है, मंदिर में जाके धन दे दो, पैसा दे दो, ये सब मांगते रहते हो. कुछ तो हमको सिखा दे कि तुम मत मांगना, you know, like in her own way of
beautiful
teaching us.
way of
She would tell us, like once I remember my brother and I, we were young. I think I was in 6th or 7th class, and my mother told me, अर्जुन ना सोते सोते भगवान का नाम लेता था, तुम लोग भी ऐसे लिया करो. You know, she would tell us this. And sometimes she'll make me sit next to her and say read Sukh Sagar. You know, it is a 10th canto ka popular version in North India.
Okay. Yeah.
The stories of
I've
Krishna.
had it. मेरे घर पे भी है वो. Yeah.
So she'll say, okay, read some story. So I remember very vividly Bakasur story. This drawing of Bakasur, you know, in that Putna ka story.
Yeah.
Sometimes she'll make me read Shiv Puran. So, so I was always asking for actually direction.
Ji.
And there's a time when I have gone through like that flux where I was like clueless.
Right.
But now I see, okay, the prayers were answered.
So can we say that your mother was a beautiful inspiration of actually giving or putting those seeds of spirituality early on in your life? Because she sort of set the road, you know, set the flow for spirituality.
Mother by her words and father unknowingly, you know.
Right.
Probably there would be no better career advice than the seeds that father sowed in me. I remember when I was studying my engineering, when I was doing my MBA in Mumbai, I will imagine that I'll go back home and I'll go for Govardhan Parikrama.
Ji.
Because I don't know what was my fondness for doing
So which
Govardhan
takes me to my next question, that you mentioned that your father used to take you for Govardhan Parikrama and you used to visit the spiritual bookstall at the Delhi Book Fair. And so I wanted to understand that these experiences, do you think, were quietly putting the seeds of spirituality in your life somewhere, you know?
Yes, I remember going to the Delhi Book Fair and mostly visiting spiritual stalls. But I also remember I picked up, you know, once Chetan Bhagat's book, you know, because that was like the 5 points someone become the, you know, bestseller.
And that time it was a bestseller.
Yes. So when I was doing my MBA, we had a project in economics to, you know, my teacher would make us do metaphors. So she said, okay, present the economy of a country with a metaphor. And then I remember that I had this Bhagavad Gita and it has a picture of, you know, that Dehino Asmin Yatha Dehe, where a child grows.
The body
changes. And then I used that image and I create a metaphor around it, that how even an economy, the young people, it grows, it goes through depression, it again goes down, it again becomes like a superpower. And so I opened that Bhagavad Gita, and I remember then I had Science of Self-Realization, both the books. And even the posters I mentioned in my rooms were from the ISKCON stall.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So, though in between I had like detoured a lot of places, but
you picked up, I think, important insights from the minimal visits jo aapke hote the to that spiritual bookstalls. You know, you used to really pick up stuff and get it back home so that probably you can study them later, or at least they're in front of you on your walls, so that, you know, there's unknowingly, unconsciously some kind of bhakti happening in your life.
I remember even reading Bhagavad Gita, attempting to read it.
Okay.
And I clearly remember I was feeling I understand English, but not the meaning.
Yes, makes sense. Yeah.
And now I can little bit understand more, but that time I had this feeling, यार I'm reading, पर कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. English समझ आ रही है, but
वो अंदर का ज्ञान क्या है वो समझ में नहीं आ रहा.
without a teacher it's difficult.
Yeah. And philosophy at that young age is hard. You know, unless and until you have a mentor who sort of guides you.
I've met people who understand, but probably it wasn't the time for me.
Right.
Probably I would have picked up Science of Self-Realization, that were like conversations, but I remember picking up Gita again and again to कि ये समझ क्यों नहीं आ रही है, like why I'm not able to understand.
Yeah, so you've cracked 60 job interviews. And after that also, you did not give up in life. You sort of kept on going. What do you think, were you asking Krishna at that time? क्या आपने कृष्ण भगवान से उस समय भी कुछ सवाल उठाए? Because that was a very challenging phase of your life, and anybody else in that moment would have given up. 60 job interviews with no success, you're feeling suicidal. You're like, I'm educated, and why is it not working? So,
And my friends would tell me that they would kind of like, oh, you speak so well, you present well, you speak good English, but why are you losing in HR round, not in the technical round? Probably
Yes.
that's where you should. I remember this Infosys interview. I gave this exam. I was the first one to be interviewed next day. My interviewer asked me, okay, write something. And he said, you're a dreamer, get out. And I like, so now I had these conversations, and these were not arguments of disbelief, but these were conversations of honesty.
Ji.
That trying to like give me strength and endurance that
Ji.
I can, go through this. We easily say you grow through a situation,
Yeah.
but you grow through a situation in retrospect. Like when you, after like 10 years, look back at, then you say, oh, it. And I remember I think if I would have cracked any of them, probably I would not have come to Mumbai.
Yeah.
And then not one of my colleagues took me to ISKCON temple, and I would not have been connected probably.
Yeah.
So Krishna was arranging that somehow I land up at this place and get connected to devotees.
Yeah. That's such a beautiful connection, कि हम जब introspective में हम reflect करते हैं हमारी life के पिछले जो circumstances हैं या situations हैं, life के experience, and then that's how we learn कि शायद अगर हमारी life में वो नहीं हुआ होता तो हम आज यहाँ पे नहीं होते. And we also become grateful, I think, in the process कि thank you कि वो हुआ, and I've learned so much and I've grown so much and now I'm here. But that reflection has to come, I think. क्योंकि जहाँ वो reflection नहीं आती है या जहाँ इंसान को time नहीं मिलता सोचने का, because life is fast, when there is a moment that you actually think and reflect that, okay, that is the flow of my life. People don't, unless and until life presents you with some challenge. This is
And
what
now I
I've
can
seen.
thank Krishna. And that's why I distinctly remember in the prayers of Kunti Maharani,
Ji.
she is not complaining to Krishna. Hey, you were my nephew, you are a relative, you are roaming in our house. Still, I went through this. My husband died. I was like given from one house to another. One of my son was poisoned. There were attempts to burn us. She was telling Krishna, oh, you saved us from all of this, so I'm grateful.
Ji.
Not complaining that even though you were there. And that's where I think, that's where I create meaning, that thank Krishna for whatever I have gone through.
Ji.
And now I can say I've grown through them after now reading, and that's beautiful. And that's why these prayers make sense. Sometimes when you relate, oh, that's how would I behave in this situation in my life?
Right.
Why she is not complaining, but she is thanking Krishna.
जी.
That.
Yeah. अभी समझ में आता है, पहले नहीं समझ में आता था.
Yeah, somebody could say, a non-believer would say, वो भगवान है तो उनके घर में घूम रहे थे, उनको बचाया भी नहीं. कैसे भगवान है? वो why he didn't come? I heard somebody was saying, why didn't Krishna appear when Draupadi was being destroyed and slapped Duryodhan? He appeared a textile mill. They are like, they cannot understand this unless they practice it. So it is for centuries, for ages, this episode is discussed, that how much Krishna loved Draupadi and how he reciprocates for his devotees. Somebody can. So for me now, it makes so much sense for what I have gone through in those periods of struggle.
Ji. So you've explored, you've studied business design, and you've explored creative writing, and you also wrote a college magazine, What do you think, whilst pursuing all of this, somewhere you still felt that you were a misfit, okay? Why do you think this feeling stayed with you for so long?
I think the design of the world worked on me, The soul always feels misfit in this temporary world. So I felt misfit for a lot of reasons. And not because I was able to do something, but because for the reason some things I was not able to process, like
give us some example, because when you look at it from a
I'll give
From
you
a
an
success
example.
point of view,
Yes.
it looks very glamorous. आपने business design किया है, आपने college magazine भी लिखी है, and आप creative writer भी रह चुके हो. And looking at all this, एक इंसान को लगता है कि wow, you know, he's so successful. He's accomplished almost everything, tried different things.
Yeah, for these trainings, I'm grateful. Now I feel before Krishna employs you, who trains you. So maybe I didn't want to do engineering, but all of that I can say I can handle technology better than a lot of people. I understand technology, and even though I entered that place without like a very keen desire, I still have some friends who stay in touch with me. Like if I say my best friends, which are before in my life I met in my engineering.
Beautiful.
And and I also grew out of shell, because living in a hostel in Uttar Pradesh, actually it changes your personality.
Your engineering was from Uttar Pradesh?
Uttar Pradesh, yes.
And living with all the boys
and
there.
my college name was Krishna Institute of
Hari
Engineering.
bol. Beautiful.
And so this was kind of training, and even my business design was based on two principles. These were, I distinctly remember, I was a very good student. I like give my 100% to this course. Two principles: empathy and observation. So empathy helps in business to what the user needs.
Ji.
Now empathy helps to understand what can I do to serve Krishna.
Ji.
So every service is becomes a beautiful design to serve Krishna.
Ji, ji.
So, and that's how I see what happened, what trainings I've gone through. And I felt misfit for several reasons, in the sense of inability to deal with politics, inability to deal with competition.
Which takes me to my next question, that when you look back, as you said, over your life experiences and your choices in life, and you see the struggles that you've been through, so body shaming, your bureaucracy, your office politics, do you think these were obstacles and Krishna placed them purposely in your life because he was silently leading you to something bigger?
Yes, yes. Because even when I was new, we learned this principle. What is the first principle we learned? You are not the body, you are soul. It takes time to integrate it.
Yeah.
And then Krishna reveals to you that your actual identity is not based on how your appearance is, but it's much more deeper.
Ji.
So it happened suddenly. I remember we were having this class, Bhagavad Gita class on chapter 13. And in that moment, I was like, oh, now I understand. Okay, what does it mean? Like, you are not this body, you are soul. At least when somebody is saying, okay, you are, I lost my hair when I was 20. And then how people point out, wo hai na, like that ganja, that takla, like something that, but then that moment, like, oh, they're referring to my body. They don't know who am I actually. I also don't know, but at least I know what they are referring to, who am I. So, developing identity on the basis of what other people think of you, rather than finding how I can serve Krishna based on my actual identity. That's what that process happened. And then when I look at past, that's how it
Beautifully
gives meaning, because it happened before very quickly. And when I did my creative writing, our group, we published a book together. In that, like, we all published 2 stories. So my story, which was as a group we selected, was called My Hair Story. That was my journey, my experience of losing hair at the age of 20 to, how...
Which can be very traumatic for people.
Traumatic, yeah. It was more traumatic for my mother. And some people said, oh, Krishna already indicated you that, okay,
this is the path. He gave you, I would say he gave you early on signs that, okay, this life is not really meant for you.
I don't think baldness is, but...
No, because you were also always interested in spirituality right from an early age, so seeing all those signs gradually.
This is external, like living, it's nowhere, the symptoms of bhakti says, you like you live in a monastery, you wear saffron robes. It's about how your inner aspirations are to serve Krishna. So wherever you are, whether in brahmachari ashram or you are doing a podcast, it's how you choose to serve Krishna in that moment.
So you've explored many spiritual paths. Like you've done Vipassana, you were introduced to art of living before finally coming to Krishna consciousness. So what was your heart actually searching for prior to coming to ISKCON?
So I was probably, I was like curious. I was going deep into my inquiry, and trying, that, okay, where I can find my spiritual solace. Ultimately coming back to Krishna, but like in one of the institutions, I liked the process, but when they said, "Oh, Krishna is a myth," I was like, "No, that whatever you say, my experience, that's not my experience." But I had questions that were not answered. I could not debate, discuss with, because a lot of the practitioners I met, their experience based on the silence, and it was wonderful. It you evolve over those 10 days of silence. Another place, there was nice gathering, lot of friendship, but there was no philosophy. Maybe I don't know. I think I'm looking for like this concrete philosophy, a book where these answers, asking. I remember this Prabhuji when I met first one of the devotees in ISKCON that, oh, in TV serial they say that Krishna is avatar of Vishnu, and we were discussed that Krishna is avatari. So I had all these questions, and I realized that in India, most of the people, their spiritual knowledge is coming from B.R. Chopra's Mahabharata,
True, true.
Ramanand Sagar's Ramayana,
True.
or some
The Doordarshan shows that they watch, or
old-time
what
Hindi movies they have
yes,
seen,
yes,
and based on that, but there is no actual
scriptural
reference,
knowledge.
scriptural knowledge,
Yes, yes.
and that's what I was trying to.
So you
seek.
wanted philosophy as well. You wanted deep answers to your inner questions. Along with that, of course, you wanted a beautiful, joyful association.
There was this inner belief that God is a person, and that if that was challenged, I could not accept it. That okay, he's energy. Like then how can I talk to him? You say love God, then how do you love if he's not a person? Can you love like unseen, air, not visible,
But
who
that's
doesn't
so
talk?
beautiful that you somewhere already knew, you had that firm conviction that Krishna, God is a person. Because I think वो reality या इस बात को समझने के लिए लोगों को कहीं जन्म बीत जाते हैं. They cross many lifetimes and then they finally come to this realization that God is actually a person. Because people are stuck in the impersonal aspect of God. A lot of people, when I have conversations about spirituality, they don't even know that God actually has a personal form. So,
Yeah, and that's probably some grace. I don't know where it came. Probably as I said, because of my parents. I had never been to Vrindavan also.
really,
All my father would take, we'll go from Delhi, we'll reach Govardhan at 12 in midnight, 5 hours do our Parikrama and come back to Delhi back. I'll go to school, he'll go to his work,
But this was a every year process.
Every month.
Every month?
Every month between Ekadashi to Purnima, we'll visit.
What are you saying?
Yes.
So father
month.
also was very spiritual that way.
So his village was near Vrindavan, like 70 kilometers in Rajasthan.
Okay.
But he would tell me that he would go in a truck and he will jump off, he'll run, do Parikrama and come and board some another truck and come back to his village. And he always felt that whatever he has in his life is given by Giriraj. And I remember somebody requested him. So once we went to Vrindavan, it was on the next day of Diwali on Govardhan Puja after doing our Parikrama. And for the first time I went to an ISKCON temple. I remember still that white temple, and they were night cleaning the temple. I remember there were some people washing that white marble. Before that, attending that aarti where I saw these Gora monks jumping and dancing. Like, wow, so much
and
energy.
The energy is exuberant.
Yes.
And you're like half in shock because you're like, how are these monks foreigners?
For me, that was not like, for me, that was just like, I wish I be, a part of them,
Yeah, you wanted to be a
part of them, yes. And that's...
This is ISKCON Vrindavan we're talking.
ISKCON Vrindavan.
Okay.
And then we had a dramatic experience. We came out and we were going in this car. I remember my uncle, my mama was there, my father. And then a devotee couple who was walking by, they took a lot of cow dung and threw it on our car.
Cow dung?
Yes.
Oh my God.
On the front glass. And then my mamaji got down like, why have you done that? He would speak English. And he said, because you were like rash driving. And we were like surprised. So I was like, we had this interesting experience, like, Once very uplifting, then
Yeah.
he came outside.
Or slightly
I-
sadistic
I didn't
experience
give
of
much
something.
meaning to it, but yeah, that's my first memory of going to Vrindavan.
First memory are always very special and they get
Special.
captured in our heart, whether it's good or bad. But an image of that is always there.
Yeah.
Which takes me to my next question: that you became friends with a monk, okay, and this was at ISKCON Grant Road, I believe.
Chapati, yes.
ISKCON Chopati. And that friendship slowly changed the direction of your life. So tell us something about that friendship.
But I've understood a bit that in bhakti life, to do it properly, there are two things you need. One is external inspiration. One is internal conviction. So he gave me that, he introduced me to Krishna. Now it's for Krishna to keep me or not. So he like opened the gate and then Krishna welcome. Okay, come in. And and we had common interests. So that time I was doing my course in creative writing. Prabhuji was leading the temple magazine called Back to Godhead. So he met me for the first time and he said, you are doing, so I'm doing a course next month, you become a co-teacher with me.
Wow.
And I said, okay. He said, you teach, but you're learning outside and I'll teach the spiritual aspect of it. So my first entry into temple, I was not chanting. I was not doing anything. And I became a teacher with him for teaching devotees. And then I remember we did that course for 3 years. 1, 2, 3.
What was the course name?
To teach writing.
To teach writing.
Yes.
So because you were already pursuing creative writing.
I was writing short stories.
Okay.
So a lot of people remember me that, they have taken my class or they've done workshop. And I was involved with Back to Godhead magazine for first few years.
Okay.
That's how I entered.
This is which year are we talking about?
2008 to 11. 2008
to 11. Okay. So that's how the friendship had such an impact on you, because initially when you met your friend,
he did a trick. He engaged me in Krishna's service, and without judgment, he just accepted me. That's what I found very special about temple. That I came to a place I was just accepted as who I am. There was no questions, just based on your intention. So welcoming, so loving.
It looks like this path was ready for you, You just landed at the right door and Krishna is like, okay, my boy arrives, please come in. It looks like that, because that's what it looks to me as a third person. So there's an interesting twist in your story. Okay, the day you decided to go full-time as a monk in ISKCON. Now this friend of yours decides to get married, leaves temple life and gets into Grihastha ashram. But you did not change your mind. You're like, I want to continue on this path. What was happening then in your mind that made you so sure about your decision? And why did you not think that this could be an influence of my friend,
So as I told you, he gave me the inspiration and then I was in this temple training that was giving me inner conviction. The day I dropped him, it was very traumatic. I remember standing in temple, all the same place, where we would stand for Mangal Aarti. And I messaged him at 5 a.m. I'm missing you. And he replied immediately, connect to Krishna and through Krishna connect with me, So, and he always encouraged me to continue and keep getting trained. He said, just be open. And so this whole incident taught me one thing, that bhakti is very process driven. It's not based on a person, it's based on principles. So that's the beauty of him, that every practitioner introduces you to that. They do not say, if I am not there, leave it. And it's not about the externals. Wherever you are, whichever situation, do it. And we are still in touch. We are good friends. He's a more sorted devotee. He's a very, more sorted individual, doing very happy in a beautiful family. So it goes beyond these external boundaries.
Right.
It's about what is you being where you can serve Krishna in the best way. Finding that out.
So somewhere your inner conviction was very strong, is what I can understand. And that overpowered your friend's influence because he introduced you to the entire experience. So that experience was there, and along with that, the inner conviction which stayed with you, and you were like, okay, this is my path, come what matter. Because it can be quite sad. The person who's introduced you to this path is now changing his decision, and it's a bold decision, to change from a monk to enter into a married life. And of course, I'm sure that would have fulfilled him back then, and hence he's happily leading a family life. But as you rightly said, that inner conviction is very important, because I think that is something which makes you rooted to your choices in life.
So I'll again emphasize, so inner conviction is about continuing to do bhakti. It's this is very secondary which ashram you are in, because somebody outside may feel, it's so difficult, but they don't know it's easier for me. For me, that's difficult.
Right.
So I made a choice which was easier for me.
Yeah. Which naturally came to you, and that's your swabhav, as they say.
I remember, like when we were in college, there was this singer, Palash Sain, and he was famous that he did MBBS and then he became a singer. Sometimes people ask us, you wasted a seat. But see, he studied MBBS, but he found more meaning in being a singer, That time he was, had a group called Euphoria, I feel more euphoric in, being this external setting. Now, inner setting is not seen to the world.
Right.
That's up to each one of us, whichever ashram you are in, whichever helps you to connect with Krishna, external circumstances in the best way.
So you joined officially as a monk in 2012, ISKCON. And all these years, has there ever been a moment where you sort of questioned your decision that maybe I shouldn't have taken this, or maybe I should have taken this at a later stage in life, or I'm perfect where I am?
Yes, see, there are days of fatigue, And then if you are... So also over these years, what I have learned is to, I become less reactive, So you give yourself time to, go through it, and it's I'll honestly accept that the days of fatigue, and, like you internally leave the institution, but externally stay there. But as you talk to your friends, you go in front of Krishna in the temple hall, it's some messages delivered, you hear in a Bhagavatam class, and then again you give, you continue seeing that as a situation that has to be dealt with, not as a decision that you exit on. Like in family, it happens, there are disappointment, but you do not exit on that.
You live with the, you understand the disappointments, and you don't exit the family.
There was this advertisement, in childhood, I remember, Dhara oil.
Yes.
This is boy, he leaves home.
Yes.
And he's like, ghar chhod ke ja raha
Very iconic.
Icon. Yeah. And then his father or somebody else, aaj jalebi banaya. Then he sees jalebi and then he stays back. So it's not the food. When you see that, for a small thing, what you are losing out on such wonderful association, so many beautiful services, and then you continue, like in a family you do.
But it's so nice that you actually accepted that, there are days of fatigue, and there are days where you sort of mentally just want to give yourself a break, because it's a huge commitment. Getting up at 4 a.m. every day, doing all your practices and all of that, which takes me to my next question. See, all of us, when we look at you monks, we think that monk life is just about chanting and meditating. But I'm sure it's not that. So walk us through your typical day, and how does it look like?
Yes, so apart from my sadhana, we have some services like, I dress Krishna once a week, I do yajna once a week, and probably say 5 days in a week, and I attend to the guests who come to Eco Village. A lot of them are well-wishers or donors. I help a department to figure out what could be the best gifts to be given, to the well-wishers as reciprocation. and I spend some time with the cows in our Gaushala. That's one of the services to facilitate experience for visitors in Gaushala. It's by encouraging them to brush the cows, which is challenging. Is to by feeding them, by doing some offering, some arti. I don't see it as just a way of taking out money from them, but actually facilitating this, I'll say, this energy, this financial energy, or their prayers, or their physical energy in the service of cows.
Right, right.
And,
Beautiful, but yeah.
And on Sundays, I go for outreach also, where I facilitate learning of Gita for some participants. Like I'm with a group, we are on 17th chapter now. So that's so this is how my typical day, that it's
beautiful. So now you mentioned that your seva, okay, part of your seva includes tending to cows, and we all know that serving cows in Vedic culture is of great importance, great significance. So what have the cows taught you about life, compassion, devotion that you'd like to share with our audience?
Yeah, beautiful thing about them is silently giving so much. That I personally experienced them, that touching them, caressing them, embracing them, by sitting near them, it immediately uplifts your mood. And since childhood, I was never have any like yuck thing for cow dung. I was very easy with cow dung. And
but you had a cow? You had a cow ghar pe jaise?
No, like we'll get from a dairy, like wherever it's on festivals, Dashera, Holi.
And गोबर को तो बहुत पुण्य मानते हैं हमारी वैदिक कल्चर में, बहुत मेडिसिनल वैल्यू भी है cow dung की. So that way.
An important aspect of cows is, unlike dogs, cows don't like remember you so instantly. You have to serve them for a long time. Like I have not served so much that any of the cows remember me. They also teach you that how service without some self-interest. Dogs reciprocate immediately. Yeah. That's why everyone loves dog. I know so many people, because they have single child, their kids want a dog because they miss anyone in the parents are busy. And with cows, it's not like that. You have to serve them really,
for a long, sustained period of time.
And even then, they were not like, unlike those videos where they show you that you call out and the cow comes and you fall and the cow comes to rescue. But it's about selflessly serving because Krishna loves cows.
Okay, that is a principle behind it, because the cows are so sacred and so loving to Lord Krishna, and we want to serve Lord Krishna through the medium of serving cows. Beautiful, beautiful. So Prabhuji, you also mentioned that part of your seva is also building relationships with people. So tell us something about that. How do you see that as a bridge or as an important integral part of your seva?
So this is, people come to an institution, everybody is coming to find love, find some hope and to have a positive experience. And also in my seva, I have to facilitate money, So when money comes, then comes the trust, and then trust follows genuine care. So that's when you offer to people, that helps to build a long-term relationship. That, okay, we value everything that you have contributed for this cause, and valuing them as a gift of Krishna, not for what they have brought to the table, but for who they are. And that's important, that when somebody comes or donates 500 rupees or they donate 5 lakh rupees, how you can value them for who they are.
That's very important, yeah.
The amount, what I give in gift may be different, but they see that I did not treat them differently.
So building that rapport, although if you've been in the fundraising department since 2018, but I think the key point here is to build that integral heart-to-heart relationships for letting people know that they are valued because of their intention.
So that's happened when people call me, Prabhuji, we are coming. And that's not that most of the people I know, they're not like big donors. but they value what we do, and I value their participation in our movement.
Their genuine intention and their love out of that. So if somebody comes to you and tells you, Prabhuji, I don't have the time for, spirituality. So what is that one thing that you will ask them to do? Or what would your response be?
If they say they don't have time for spirituality, I'll ask them if they have 1 minute. I'm sure. Because when you say I don't have time, but when you ask for actually very specific, do you have 1 minute? Can you take out 1 minute?
1 minute तो कोई भी निकाल सकता है.
Can you take out 1 minute and say thank you, offer your gratitude before you sit for your dinner, before you say, in whatever name you call, that's how you have to encourage people toward the do's and not like scare them with the don'ts initially. I met a lot of people who say, oh, we eat meat, can we chant? I said, yes. You can, you always encourage people to chant, and then Krishna will do his job.
Bilkul.
So it's about asking people for that.
That little encouragement, and if they can take out that, starting with 1 minute, because taking off 1 minute from your life is absolutely doable, and then you inject that beautiful emotion of gratitude and remembering
I
the
met
Lord.
one of my friend and her kids. Her grandmother was encouraging the kids to chant 1 round. I said, can you chant 4 mantras? Okay, can you chant 16 mantras every day? They immediately agreed.
Beautiful.
So it's easy. Okay, for how much time? We're like, oh, that I can do. When you tell people, okay, do you travel to college? Okay, on the train, can you do this? Okay,
it can be done. Yeah.
And then when their relationship forms with Krishna, like each one of us experienced how then Krishna, he guides us, he speaks with us, he tells us how to go ahead. He paves the path for us.
Yeah, true. You just have to take one step,
One
and
step.
reciprocation Krishna Bhagwan to karte hi hai, jo hum sunte hain bhakti mein. Tell me one thing. So today's generation, the young kids, they are battling with anxiety, depression, loneliness, a constant need for finding that identity. Now, as per your experience, what do you think is the root cause of all their issues?
Yeah, if that way, if I talk to my younger self, I'll tell, stop trying too hard to fit in, just accept how you are. So I think one of the biggest problems is comparison. And that's what has shooted up because of the rise in social media. I met a family, they told me if their daughter would post something and she doesn't get 200 likes, that were like many years ago, she'll go into anxiety, like actually really like she'll start shaking and she will like why she hasn't got this likes. So people seeking validation from the world for everything you do. You remember our mothers cooking in kitchen, and no matter how much you like it or not, cooking for like decades.
For them, it's a duty. Yes.
And now you cook and you post it, and you want like the whole world likes the chapati is puffed up or how the sabzi looks. So that has gone to another extreme, and that's what I would. That's where I feel that the two things that everyone is trying to chase: money and fame. But if they see, okay, how can I offer my abilities best, say even not to Krishna, but to the world, to build myself a life, a career, that would be the best thing. With the rise in reality shows, everyone wants their kids to be a dancer or an actor, and how many of them win? And later,
winner तो आखिर में एक ही होगा ना, right?
But they end up getting into this trap of name and fame. That's risky. So
you think name, money, and fame are the root causes of the constant problems the young generation is actually battling with?
I remember an actor saying, that being famous is part of her job. But if you want to be famous and that's why you become actor, that's different.
That's true, very true.
So you want to be an actor or you want to be famous? Yeah. That's not the best goal.
You can have a higher calling of choosing.
So it could be an outcome. You choose, but okay, you try to discover, see the patterns of your life, what you're good at, what can you do, or you take help, you do some career counseling, or you take the natural course of life, you figure out. But if you're chasing fame, you'll never be satisfied.
बिल्कुल.
Who is the most famous person in this world if I ask you now?
Hmm.
Can you pinpoint one?
I mean, there's so many from different categories.
So you will say,
and
oh,
everything.
Elon Musk, then somebody will say, no.
Somebody else comes
it's,
up
you
after
know,
someone. So
it's
there's
this actor or that actor. Some will say, no, it's Neeta Ambani. But then who will you compare yourself
Yeah,
to? Because it's
true.
an unending cycle.
Yes. So somebody is new to Krishna consciousness. What is that one simple habit or one simple thing that they can begin with without feeling overwhelmed or something, you know?
Yeah, one simple habit you said.
One simple habit or some simple task that you can just encourage them with without they feeling stressed about it, you know?
Doing devotion with surrender, accepting what comes as a natural outcome. I'll say that whatever you do, you say, Shri Krishna Arpanastu, like that, seeing
Surrender.
that as whatever you do as a work, as an offering to Krishna. I remember when I was new and I was working and I was feeling, oh my God, all of this Maya, why am I going to office, all that. And then I happened to attend a lecture in temple by Devamrit Swami. And then he opened the class with the new devotees in ISKCON, their top 3 problems are 1, 2, third is they feel the office is a baggage. I'm like, oh, and I remember that. And then he discussed in the class that how we see that how I'm doing my work as an offering to Krishna. So seeing that you cannot have 2 personalities. You cannot be like once time of the day devotee and one time you become like somebody else. You may wear a different hat, but you are the same.
But you have to integrate Krishna consciousness in your everyday life, in
now
every thread of your life.
Whatever you do, you are a cameraman, you're a chef, whatever. How you see that, how your work is an offering to Krishna. That's the trick. That's what a devotee has to learn. Otherwise, he will always be in 2 worlds.
Beautiful. So as you said, if today, okay, you are facing your younger self, young Madhu, what would be that one thing that you'd like to say to the younger version of yourself who always felt a misfit or who was always searching for a beautiful friend in Lord Krishna? What would you say?
I think I said, that do not try too hard to fit in to this in this world, but accept how you are, and from the struggle to choosing, surrender. That helps. The moment you surrender, it becomes easier. Like a child may be trying to, like climb up on this sofa, on their own, but the parents can easily, help them
Provide
to
the support and help the child to climb faster.
So seeing that hand of Krishna that's very important, that how Krishna is hand holding me everywhere.
Through every phase of life.
So then different things make, as a child, giving up toys would not make meaning, for the bigger thing. But when you grow old, you realize that, now you don't have a toy car, you have an actual car. Or so seeing whatever you have to give up, whatever Krishna helped you to shed was in your favor.
Beautiful. Which takes me to my next question, that, the young generation, okay? So they have a lot of, they have this constant habit. They pick up an activity, they do it for some time, then they stop. So reading books, joining a gym, could be taking up a class, and they'll do it consistently for 8 months and then they'll stop. Now, the same thing applies even in spirituality. A lot of young generation, a lot of Gen Zs, they decide to go to the temple, or they'll decide to get up early in the morning or read the Bhagavatam scriptures, but they cannot pursue that consistently. So what is the remedy for this? How to cope with this habit?
This has happened because of this culture of instant gratification. Like everything is instant. You sit at your home in 10 minutes, everything will come at your home. Who would imagine this would happen?
True.
You remember our generation, our parents will build a home like we're going to live in this house forever.
Yeah.
Today it's like it's an investment.
Yeah.
This is a shift, and I find so surprising because I have not still adapted to that. So how you can do it is, if you see that you think about, we are addicted to novelty, but we have to be addicted to the commitment. So people want newness every day, and that's why they get bored. Now, if you chant, we have been chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra for like 20 years every day for 2 hours, sometimes more. So what is it that
Keeps you
I'm
going.
getting out of it? So next thing is, think about the roots, not the fruits. You have to educate about yourself. Even in our relationships, that's what has happened. People are thinking, what do I get out of this person? Rather than I have to think about that how I can serve this person. So love or bhakti, whatever you have to see, before it's a feeling, it's a decision. And that's where it makes a difference, whether in your relationships with anything, whether the home, the person, the society, and in bhakti life with Krishna also.
Okay. So as you've heard Prabhuji rightly said, that if you feel you've picked up an activity and you can't sustain it for a long time, remember, don't look for instant gratification out of that activity. Next time when you decide to spiritualize your life, make sure that you're looking at the different roots or the different benefits that activity has to offer, rather than instant happiness or that instant novelty, which definitely wears off after the first few attempts. Am I right, Prabhuji?
Yes, you see that somebody who wants to win a gold in Olympics. I've seen these videos of Chinese people training their kids from the age of 4 or 5.
True, very true.
And I know these people, they measure their calories. They are so accountable for what something they're not even eligible now, because they will enter into this game at the age of 18 or whatever, or even after 4 years or 8 years when they can actually enter, but they work towards it. So similarly, whatever we take up, we have to see that, okay, what is the so in everything we do there, like in bhakti life, we have this sambandh, abhiday, prayojan.
Right.
Okay, like,
So, Prabhuji, can you explain Sambandh, Abhiday, and Prayojana?
so the prayojan, though, is the result, but it is the thing we visit first. Why am I doing this? What will I get out of it? You actually visit the prayojan first in your mind. That is, what am I going to get out of it? Then you say, okay, then you come to sambandh. Okay, why am I doing this? Okay, I'm part and parcel of Krishna. Or in this world, say, suppose you have to go to gym or you do exercise. Because I have this body, which if I do not keep fit, I'll fall sick and I'll not be able to do anything. Okay. Then comes abhiday, that means the process. How do I do it? To keep my body fit, I eat right, I sleep on time, I wake up on time, I exercise. Similarly, in bhakti life, okay, I am a part and parcel of Krishna, we all come from Krishna, and we have to revoke that, that re-invoke that relationship. So you do abhiday, the process is what? Bhakti. That, okay, you read about Krishna, you do basically, what do? You hear about Krishna, his Naam, Roop, Gun, Leela, and that's how you in association of devotees, so you know the process. And what is the prayojan? Okay, you get love of Krishna and you go to Krishna, the Golok or Krishna's world. So you intellectually visited first. That's why you inquired about the sambandha, then you took up the abhideya, the process, and finally you reach the prayojan. Similarly, we have to do that in our life also. Whatever we take up, okay, how this is going to benefit me in long term.
So let's say now somebody decides that they want to go deeper on their spiritual path and they decide to chant every day. So in this case, when somebody is deciding to chant every day, the remedy for staying consistent in their chanting practices, first to understand that why they are doing it, and then to understand that
how do you do it?
How do you do it? What is the actual
and
process?
In that, the key is staying with devotees. Like, for example, you want to become the best swimmer, you have to associate with
like-minded swimmers.
You have to become the, like whatever photographer, you observe them, you spend time with them. Similarly, difficult to chant alone. But if you be with devotees, then you say, everyone is chanting, then you also chant, and it makes it easier. So the whole thing is staying with the like-minded people, and I'll say stay with it for some time, like don't do that instantly. People just come and they want like quick results. Okay, like I should become a great devotee tomorrow, mind should stabilize, like today itself. anything in life we have actually achieved by going through
consistency practices.
Consistency.
Beautiful. And one final question: that how does one go deep on their spiritual path? In whatever manner, like somebody has to deepen their spiritual path, how can they go deep?
Stick to the process, like, and all. Do not restrict yourself from questioning or doubting. That's very important thing. What did Arjun do? He was doubting. He was like, I don't want to fight. Why have you put me here?
Yeah, he had a whole series of questions.
And then Krishna answered the whole Gita in second chapter. He still had a doubt.
Yes.
And again a question, and again a question, and again a question. And and you see, all our scriptures are actually question and answer.
Yes.
So and actually this is not questioning out of, like arrogance, but this is questioning for seeking, Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevya. So there's a way of, seeking, questioning to understand more. And that's how you, and when you have those questions, if you numb yourself, so you have to surrender, you have to accept, but rather you have to keep questioning. And then in this process of seeking answers, you will go ahead.
So you heard Prabhuji saying that if you want to deepen your spiritual practice, don't shy away from raising your doubts. Ask questions early on from wherever they come from. Seek mentors, very important, and be in the association of right-minded people who want to also practice and go deep on their spiritual path. One final and last question is, if Lord Krishna today is present in front of you, and if he tells you, Madhu, what have you done of the life that I've given you? What would your answer be to Lord Krishna? I think you've pretty much followed on his path, right? You've pretty much done what he's asked you to do in a very beautiful, unconscious manner. So probably something like that, he's just showed you the path and you voluntarily took it, because
the first thing I tell him that you are so accessible, that the most important thing I like about Krishna is accessibility. Because I remember that I was so low in confidence.
Really?
Yes. And I see these prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. He says that Krishna, you cannot be achieved by dhana, wealth, but if you have great relatives, okay, by power, by contacts, like having influence, by vigor, by too much of intelligence. I always thought I possess none of this. And the prayer, Prahlad Maharaj says that Bhaktya tutosh Bhagavan Gaj Yutapaya, that this elephant Gajendra, how he achieved you? He was an elephant. None of this, only you are pleased by bhakti. So, now I may have this knowledge, but I think I became friends with Krishna before that. So Krishna was not waiting that, okay, he will have knowledge and then he'll but as a child, I chose him to become my friend. And that's where I find that Krishna is so accessible. So I'll say, I don't know what I have done to you, but I want to thank you for being so accessible that I didn't know who you are, but I know you are everything for me.
Wow. Thank you so much. It's such a beautiful answer. And I'm sure Lord Krishna would be so satisfied and so happy to see one of his children going back to Godhead, at least trying to make an attempt to go back home to him.
Thank you.
Let's have a beautiful, fiery, rapid fire round. Okay? To make this episode more interesting, more spicy, more fun, more entertaining, and more spiritually uplifting, educational for our audience. Favorite quality of Krishna?
Yes, I said accessibility.
Bhakti yoga or karma yoga?
Bhakti yoga. You choose what pleases Krishna.
Gyan yoga or bhakti yoga?
Bhakti yoga. You choose what pleases Krishna.
Vrindavan or Govardhan?
Govardhan, the mountain that Krishna lifted.
One inspiring quality of Radhanath Swami Maharaj that inspires you the most?
His ability to connect with everyone and give a message in a way that it touches everyone's heart.
Beautiful, beautiful. I couldn't agree more on this. Your favorite verse of the Bhagavad Gita?
Ye yathamam prapadyante. That's where Krishna says that I reciprocate in the way how you approach me. So it helps me to take responsibility of how I am doing my bhakti.
One word for today's youth.
Super fast.
One message for today's youth.
Give up comparison.
Happiness means.
Surrender.
Service means.
Loving Krishna.
Failure means.
Having faith while you are still having doubts.
Beautiful. One misconception that people have about monks.
Oh, that we give up so much, but we give up the world, but actually whole world is our family.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for really taking us through this insightful, spiritually uplifting conversation. It was beautiful having you here today, and we seek your blessings and we seek your guidance that we might continue to go and advance a little bit on our spiritual path. So please bless us.
Thank
That
you. My prayers for your success. May you enable a lot of people in their spiritual journey.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hari
Thank
Bol. And I'm sure you had a great time with us,
Yeah,
sharing
thank you.
sharing your life journey. आपने हमें सिखाया कि अगर लाइफ में कभी कभार हम मिसफिट महसूस करते हैं, so it's really okay because that can lead us to our actual calling, our real purpose in life. आपकी जर्नी से हमने ये सीखा कि भक्ति सिर्फ मंदिर जाने तक लिमिटेड ही नहीं, वो हर रिश्तों में, हर सेवा में और छोटे से छोटे कर्म में जी जा सकती है। आई एम श्योर हमारे दर्शकों को भी आज के एपिसोड से एक बहुत ही सुंदर स्पिरिचुअल रियलाइजेशन मिली होगी। अगर आपको आज का एपिसोड पसंद आया तो लाइक, कमेंट और शेयर जरूर करिए। लेट मी नो इन द कमेंट्स व्हिच वाज योर फेवरेट इनसाइट। आई विल सी यू वेरी सून इन द नेक्स्ट एपिसोड। आप देख रहे हैं ट्रांसफॉर्म विद श्रेया पॉडकास्ट पावर्ड बाय आत्मा शांति वेलनेस। मेरा नाम श्रेया है। कीप ट्रांसफॉर्मिंग फ्रॉम विद इन और याद रखिए, ध्यान रखिए अपने बॉडी, माइंड और खास तौर से अपनी आत्मा का। सी यू सून। राधे राधे।